Hey, this episode of Bass Freaks is brought to you by Mxr Bass Innovations. Mxr has been a leader in guitar effects for over 45 years. Mxr Bass Innovations creates bass effects pedals from the ground up, each one specifically designed for bass players by bass players. Not repurposed guitar pedals, but their overdrive, fuzz, EQ, preamp DI, octave, distortion, compressor, or chorus, these tried and true stomp boxes are designed by Dunlop's award-winning team of bassists and engineers. Go to jimdunlop.com and check out Mxr Bass Innovations for your bass effects. What is up, my friends? Welcome to Dunlop Presents Bass Freaks. This is a place for all of us bass freaks to chat it up, gain a little insight and inspiration, and have some fun with some great bass players. I'm your host, Josh Paul, and today we welcome the great Mohini Dey to the show. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming on. What's going on with you?
All good. Just been 1 week. I've been here in Los Angeles, and I am so excited for the new chapter of my life here.
Okay. Where'd you come from?
India, Mumbai.
Awesome. And so 1 weekend, what do you think?
I have been here in LA a couple of times before. Last year I was here for NAM, and I also recorded for the band called Bees and this Indonesian guitar player called Dewa Bujana from Indonesia. Marco Miniman, Jordan Brutus, and myself, we recorded like 8 songs in a day around NAM. Then I also recorded another like 10 songs for the Japanese band called Bees for their
I love them.
Called,
they're awesome.
Yeah, they're amazing. So the album was called Whole Lotta New Love. So I was here for like a whole month, and I did not get to see anything apart from just, musicians and just work in general. I was doing a lot of performances, gigging a lot. And now that I'm here with no work at all, of course, I do the recording sessions for my, consistent clients that I have. But apart from that, like no really gigs and anything. So now that I'm here with no live performances lined up, I have a lot of time in my hand to just go around and see other people's bands playing at clubs. And, like I said, I never got a chance to just, hang out. And now I'm getting to do that. So it's been really fun and exciting to see how musicians here operate and roll, and how the, just the music making process is.
Oh, what are some of the biggest differences between gigging and doing sessions in India and the United States?
That's actually a very good question. So India is very spontaneous. There's a lot of room for on-the-spot moments. So if you, I don't know if you've ever seen like Carnatic performances or Hindustani classical performances where there's a lot of tapadibi taktas, a lot of konakol involved. Those type of performances are mostly without rehearsals that are happening. And the people in the audience, they feel like, oh, wow, that's a lot of parts involved, a lot of unison things going on. And maybe they've rehearsed a lot, before this show. But actually, we don't do any rehearsals before that. And everything is just bang on. It's just like the foundation that Carnatic musicians have. It's a different type of education and study that one has to have. It's just like how we know 2 + 2 is 4, 4 + 4 is 8. There is a certain type of study that goes behind learning Carnatic music. So if you know the formula, you can kind of complete the rest of the the game plan. And of course, there are a lot of other possibilities, but when you do that the first time and the other 2 times when it repeats, it's called a tihai. It happens 3 times when a person is, let's say, ending a solo, resolving a solo, or transitioning into another person's solo, or transitioning into, let's say, going back to a verse or a bridge or whatever. Usually during these unplanned performances, we will play a korvai or a tihai and play the first time just by ourselves, and then the band will just follow and play exactly the same the second and third time. They don't even need to rehearse that. It's that, it's very exciting. Like I said, there's a certain type of study that goes behind this to be able to do that, to be able to pick up that fast on the spot, And here, a lot of performances are mostly, I would say, you get charged before shows,
Right.
you get.
So you're not reading during those performances. that you were just referring to?
You mean in India? No, you're not. Yeah, you're not.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, you're not reading.
Well, how are you? Okay. Excuse my ignorance on the subject.
No, it's
so
fine.
How are you running these unison lines? Are you just listening to each other, or who's pulling them up first,
Yes.
and then you're just following along?
You're just following. You're just playing it by ear. So your ears got to be really strong and alert all the time to hear what the other person is saying. That's why I, as a bass player, always say, listen to what's going on, and you will be able to survive a show even if you don't know the songs. Sometimes, the first time anybody plays the form, you got to keep your ears open so that you can, of course, as bassers, your time should be strong, and you are the part of not only the rhythm section but also the melodic section. So you're kind of the backbone of the whole band. So you have to be attentive at all times, not only with polyrhythmic time signature changes, if there is any, but also the harmony that is going on behind, So you got to be extra attentive than other people in the band who are, let's say, just the part of the rhythmic section, which is the drums, or percussions or mridangam or tabla or whatever, and during these type of situations, if you're not listening to other musicians and just doing your thing by not hearing anything, you will miss out and you will not be able to catch those stabs, or you will not be able to catch those accents or the whole form. You will not understand if you don't listen. So before playing, it's very important that you listen to others, and then in result to that, you complement them with what you have in your mind, being creative, opening your creative side to what you just listened, So that way, sometimes you can survive the shows without charts. I can do that. I've had a good foundation of that, being a part of the Western industry in India, and where I was, playing standards in clubs Friday, Saturday night, and being a part of the Carnatic musician group community, playing the weekdays with them, doing corporate and private shows. It was always a great hop in and out for me. I loved fluctuations. I never liked to stick with anything. It gets too boring for me after a point. So I like the fluctuation, hopping in and out of different situations, hopping in and out with different band members, because you always get to learn something new the more you play with, different mindsets and different people from different parts of the world with different approaches because of their cultural difference between, all the stuff that I have learned my way, and their way is totally different. But it's so fun to just, it's fascinating to me to just know what they've been through and how they got into music and how they think and how they approach to different types of music,
So that's really, really, really very interesting. And you're 100% correct. I think over the board, as far as being present and listening to what's going on to make yourself a better musician generally. Do you think that is Western music easier for you as a result of all of that?
No, I don't think anything is easy. That's very subjective, I would say, because easy and hard depends on vocabulary, I would say.
And experience, right?
Yeah, experience, of course. And, experience makes you better. But at the same time, the things that you've learned as a kid growing up really come into work when you grow up. And if you have not had the correct study or the right way of, adapting to things. Because I, as a kid growing up, I always learned to adapt to the environment, After school hours, I would go hang out with musicians, and I was hanging out with 55-year-olds, 45-year-olds, all older people. And I was only, 13, 14 years old when I was doing that. It just gave me a different vision. It made me so advanced at my age. Whereas if I was hanging out with my age kids, I probably wouldn't have seen the world the way I do now. And I would say, I love learning things. So I'm really open-minded. And I always say this to my students that I teach, that, the more open you are, the more accepting you become of your environment and surrounding that you live in, and that way you're more open to learning more things that you probably never, thought of because every person's thinking and approach to things, just dealing with life, not just music, is very, very different. And I love learning about what they are thinking,
You have an amazing insight on some things. And I think probably being exposed to those senior musicians is really valuable to you.
Let's just say that I picked up on the right things.
If you don't mind me asking, how old are you?
I'm 25. Yeah.
25. Okay. You look very, very young as well. So compliments
I get that a lot. Oh my
God. When did you start playing? And I know your father is a bass player as well. Did you learn from your dad?
I did learn from my dad at first, yes. But, my father never went to a music school, nor did my mother. My mom is a singer. She had a dance school in Calcutta. There's another city, which is very high on creativity. Every kid that you meet in a family in Calcutta will either be a dancer or a singer or an artist or a painter or something, the culture that Calcutta has is very rich in creativity. So my mom being a singer and my father being a bass player, creativity was always floating in the house. And my parents always had this dream of having kids, and both they already had it planned. They didn't want to hear nothing what we wanted to be. They just had it planned that both our children are going to be musicians. Okay, no matter what. Yeah. It was, I'll tell you what came up after. So obviously, I was the first child, and then I have my sister who's 3 years younger to me. When I was born, the society was not very happy. The extended family was not very happy because I was a girl, and they wanted a boy. And
I don't think you get to choose that. But anyway, go on. Yeah.
Exactly. You don't get to choose that. So my parents being very forward at that point of time, 1996, at that point being so forward and open-minded during their times, they moved out of Calcutta. They got married, and without the consent of their extended family. Like, they were not happy that they fell in love and got married and everything. Back in the days, that was not a thing, like they were totally against falling in love and marrying somebody who is not their caste and all that bullshit, So my parents got married. They were both musicians, like I said, and they moved to Mumbai because Mumbai had more opportunities for musicians. And they wanted to make it big, the music industry in Mumbai, because there's this saying where if you can make it in Mumbai, you can make it anywhere, because there's so many diverse cultures in this city, Mumbai. I'm
going to start using that. So here it's like, if you can make it in Hollywood, you can make it anywhere. But now I'm just going to say, if you can make it in Mumbai, you can make it anywhere. So I hope you don't mind.
I was born and brought up in Mumbai, in a city like Mumbai, which was already very, very, advanced compared to Calcutta. Calcutta being so creative at the same, it was still very conservative when it came to women, like dressing up and doing certain things, not going out after a certain time, like after 8 p.m. you can't go out here and there, because it's just not safe because of the men out there, they're like predators most of the time. Back in the days, it was even more. Now it's way better, things are changing. So that's great.
Yeah, thankfully.
Thankfully, but my parents were very, very strict because they had to learn their own ways of living, having no extended family support because of the fact that, I was a girl. They just like cut ties with us. Like, they just didn't want to have nothing to do with us. And then when I started becoming famous, then they wanted to bond and tie that knot again. And my family was like, hell no, we're not, like, this is not a game, we're happy without you. And my children never felt the absence of any type of love. So I never got a grandpa, grandma, or any extended family type of love. I didn't need, to be honest, because my mom and dad were enough. And I was so busy as a kid that I didn't even have the time to miss anything. Getting up 5 a.m. in the morning, getting ready for school and being at school till 12 p.m., coming back home, having lunch, doing my school homework. And then my tutor would come at like 3 p.m. She would teach me till like 6 p.m. And then I would do my private classes, homework. Then after that's done, I would have my dinner, and then I would do my music practice till 12 a.m. and then all over again. That was my childhood.
So
And
your days were full. You were busy.
Full. Packed,
kept you out of trouble though, right?
Sorry?
It kept you out of trouble though, right?
It definitely kept me out of trouble. But you have to think, as a 9-year-old, 10-year-old, you see other kids of your age doing other things that you're not doing. So you're in your head having this culture shock, what is going on? Why am I this way? And why am I not like other kids? I want to go to movies. I want to go shopping. I want to have sleepover nights and all those things, And my family was very strict against that. They just said, no, you can't be doing that right now. You will thank us later when you're, successful and independent, when your friends wouldn't be. So right now you make your future and then you can do whatever you want. So that's what happened.
Is this that moment right now? Do you think that it's been worth it now that you're in Los Angeles and you're a successful bassist? And how do you feel? Do you think that you lost out on some of your childhood, or is it all worth it, like your parents said?
I think I definitely lost on a lot of my childhood. People think from just the outside, when you post stuff online on, social media, Instagram, Facebook and stuff, people think, oh, she had the best childhood, best parents, and she had the best upbringing and everything. As much as I thank my parents, of course, I had my own battles too as a kid growing up. Everybody does. Nobody's perfect. Nobody can be perfect. There are things in different forms that you go through that sometimes you cannot talk about, but that's because I don't want sympathy. I am proud of my own choices and I am stronger because of that. Some things probably people will never know, and that's just how it's going to be, because I want people to focus on my musical journey rather than my personal journey. Everybody has a lot of pain and hurt and things like that in their life, and there's already so much happening out here in the world. I don't feel like I deserve that sympathy that I need. Okay, you know what? I lost on my childhood. I had battles with my own parents as well. I was fighting for my own freedom. I moved out of the house at 18. I got my own place because I didn't want to deal with the strictness around my family or the controlling nature of my parents, everybody has that stuff. At some point, you just got to deal with it. I am glad that I realized as a kid growing up, not going too into detail, long story in short, I was happy that I realized at 17 that if I don't make money and if I'm not independent, I can never get out of this controlling environment, So the first thing I asked myself, what do I do the best? I didn't do anything else apart from music. So that's the only thing I knew to do. And thanks to my family for teaching me music, at least that's something that helped. But in the corner of my heart and mind, I always wanted to become a fashion designer.
Cool.
So I actually applied for a fashion college. A lot of the stage outfits that you see are actually stitched and designed by me.
Really?
So not a lot of people know about that, but
that is awesome. You should start a company as well.
I will. That's on the side. When it's in the process of making. Hopefully one day I'll have my own clothing line and things like that. Because
you got this.
I feel like, as human beings, we shouldn't limit ourselves to just one thing. Yes, I'm a great musician. I know that. And I am super nice as a human being. I would like to think so. And I just like to be unlimited. I want to do things that I love doing. I want to become a fashion designer also. I want to do that on the side. I love making jewelry. I love DIY stuff. I love YouTubing. I love influencing people with the little bit of, life experience that I have, the 18 years of, musical experience that I have in the Indian music industry. And now I'm just looking forward to all the things that is, coming up in this new chapter of my life, So my fans love me for who I am. And I have never wanted any type of sympathy for any type of thing because of being an Indian girl, because of not being accepted as a girl, being a bass player in India as a kid growing up. I never said that, I faced any type of thing. Everybody faces some type of thing, but I never spoke about it because it was my own battle, and everybody learns and everybody has failures, and you just learn and grow from that. And that's just life.
I respect that, but everybody's got a story too, and you should be able to tell
Exactly.
it with no regrets. This is who I am. So that is
Absolutely.
awesome, and you have a great energy, by the way.
Thank you.
What kind of music challenges you to play, if any?
Oh wow, that's exciting. I think I'm very fortunate to get a lot of these different type of recording sessions from different parts of the world, different people from different parts of the world. Like just recently, there was this guy, I can't remember his name. I think his name was Seri, if I'm not wrong. But it was like very heavy metal-ish rock, very hard rock with a little bit of like fusion aspect to it. And there were a lot of these like 16th notes, but like really fast, like 250 BPM or so. I think people think because on social media, everything looks so flashy. And yes, people want to get viral and everything. So people think everything that we put out is for the views, but that's not true. It's just what I get hired for. And they want me to post that stuff. I get hired for that, Yeah. So some people will make comments in the comment section saying, oh my God, she always plays fast. I'm like, oh my God, that is so bad. Like, have you seen me play with Mr. Rahman? I am just in the back. Nobody will ever notice that Mohini playing on the bass. I'm just grooving.
Yeah.
No solos, no fillers, just playing straight grooves. There are so many bands where I do that. It's not like I only do that. So I think people just assume too quick.
Yeah.
But yeah, everybody's entitled to their own opinion, and you can't really do anything about it.
Let's put it all to rest right now. So for all the bass players out there questioning with any question, what would you recommend a session that you've done or a record that you played on or a performance that is available for people to see where you're just grooving? Where should they go?
Just grooving. Oh man, I mean, all the A.R. Rahman performances, you just type A.R. Rahman Mohini Dey, and all the live performances clips will pop up on YouTube, and you will see me just grooving. If you want to see flashy stuff, and if you want to see like what's going on in my life, what I'm doing currently, then people should definitely go to Instagram at BEY_bass, BASS. And you can also subscribe to my YouTube channel. Lately, in the past 2 years, I've been very, very active on YouTube. Just type Mohini Dey and you will see my profile where it says just Mohini Dey, and you will see me showing you all my personal life experiences as well as all the musical collaborations that I, at that point of time I'm doing, whatever. Like you will see, like just last week I was recording for a client, and that's up there, So those things you will not be able to find on Google or anywhere. You can only find that on Instagram and YouTube.
Got it. When it works.
Yes.
So, what do you enjoy the most about playing bass?
Everything. I like I said, I really love the fluctuation bit. I don't like sticking to just like one thing. I like changing up arrangements with my own songs as well when I'm playing with my own band, or if I'm playing with another band, like let's say A.R. Rahman, or, I mean, there are times when like you're touring and you have to play the same thing every show. Like Japanese people like that are very, very scripted. The bass band, they wanted same solos. They want to present the same show every night, which I get it, because they don't want to take any chance of any extension of time period. Like, oh, what if the solo goes more than 2 minutes, more than they wanted? So sometimes it's hard to solo and keep time in your head when it's an open thing. Because I had this like feature spot during the 3 hours these shows throughout the 4.5 months of touring I did with them. So I had this like 2-minute feature spot. It was just bass. So they would have me come in the front and just do like an open bass solo. And they told me what they exactly wanted. And then I delivered my assets based on that. And and then I feel like they are so scripted. They want to know everything. Like, okay, at what point are you going to switch to this? At what point are you going to do this? Because they want to do live production. based on what you're playing.
Right.
So what you're playing, they're writing everything. So my bass solo, everything's like light programmed. So what I'm doing, lights are going according to that. I was like, wow, that's incredible.
Awesome. Yeah, that's really cool.
That's awesome. I'm like, I get that, why they're doing that, so it makes sense. So there are situations like that where you can't change. Some solos are just evergreen, like this solo I played for, what is the song's name? I keep forgetting these names. They're Japanese and I just don't understand the language. Even after 4 months of touring, I have learned a little bit though. Just good morning, good night, and like, greetings and all of that. Thank you. But yeah, yes. Yeah. Yeah. So like, just touring with that whole band, it just was a completely like different experience. Like my techie was operating the pedals for me after the show was done. Somebody's taking off my 7-inch high heels and like putting ice pack on my neck because of all the headbanging I did. So I saw a different side of myself. I saw a different side of myself that I never thought existed in me, I was like, wow, when I call myself unlimited, I think I know it internally. Secretly, I know it. I just don't know what are the boundaries, as human beings we have, because you just get shocked of your own self sometimes. And I'm like, I did that? And I look back and I look at myself and I'm like, that's not me.
Or you're saying, yeah, I did that.
Yeah. Yeah, that also. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have any plans to record a solo record?
I am actually. I just finished recording 10 songs. And
awesome.
Some songs that I had written a long time ago, and I finished those. And some I wrote during this pandemic. So now I have like a set of 10 songs that I'm finally going to release, because I know everybody has been asking for my album. I did release a single last year, I think. It was called Can You Feel Me, which has Steve Vai on it and Jordan Brutus on it. And
I heard
Mark
that.
Hartsuch on sax. Yeah, so I'm singing and playing bass. It has a little bit of fusion-esque vibe with a little bit of pop vibe.
You're a writer as well then? Composer and writer? Okay.
I absolutely love writing songs. I actually do a lot of production work lately too. And I recently recorded for this song which had Chad Smith from Red Hot Chili Peppers. So there was this song, he just played like free drums, and I was asked to write a song on it. So I wrote a song on his drums, just free drums, and that is going to be out this year very soon. So I have been writing a lot of songs lately for other clients of mine who have hired me to record just bass on their tracks, and then they see how well how I kind of ideate and orchestrate my bass parts on their songs, and then they end up asking me like, so do you write songs also? Because I see like you reharmonize a lot of stuff, and I like that stuff. I see that you have a lot of creative writing skills, and I want that on my songs. So I'm like, yeah, I love doing that. So so that door has been opening for me now, which is great.
Very cool. Do you write on the bass first?
I write on the bass. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Everything. I write on the bass. Like I will even play the drums group on the bass.
I do that too.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah. Oh wow, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What gear inspires you? Excuse me.
Yeah, I'm very analog that way. So I was never into like pedals and stuff until that Beast thing happened. And then I was like kind of forced to use a little bit of overdrive and distortion. I mean, nobody forced me, but like I felt the drive inside of me to kind of, do it because it needed it. It was just, dying for it. So I usually just drive it with my fingers, putting the gain knob a little bit up there so it kind of starts giving that grungy, distorted sound.
Is there a particular pedal that you use?
Clean. Oh, for the bass thing?
Yeah.
Yes. So I basically use this like brush pedal. It's like this bottle green like color from TC Electronic. It's just called a booster. It's not even an overdrive pedal. So I just use that booster pedal and I brought that gain knob up on my head amp just a notch up, and then it did the job. I don't know if it's there on YouTube because those performances were private and they don't really release them, but I think they put out one performance from the whole tour. And if people just type Bees Tour Digest, whole lot of new love, they will be able to see that performance. And if you hear my bass sound, there's a lot of grunginess compared to what I like in my, if you see Instagram videos and stuff, it's very different. But again, like, if you hear the videos on Instagram and YouTube, there are so many different types of project that I'm playing on. There is metal project, there is soft rock projects, pop projects, fusion projects, and the ballads. Every tone, every sound is different because the music needs that, And so I end up kind of just playing around with my bass EQs. I have an OBP3 preamp in my bass, so it's very, very versatile. I play a mayonnaise bass, a Commodus Classic 5, and I have angular pickups on it. I feel like they're just the best for me. I've been playing on it for over 5 years now, and
you play mostly 5.
I play 5. Yeah, I started with a 4, and then I wanted a 5, so I got a 5, and then I wanted a 6. That didn't quite work out well for me because my fingers are very small. So then I started like stretching out, and then I had like wrist pain and stuff, and I was like, it's not doing it for me. For the long run, it's probably not good. So then I just stuck to 5 string, and sometimes I'll play a 6 just for fun, maybe like a song or 2.
Or use it as a skateboard or something. It's cool.
Yeah, because I like blowing. Yeah. I love it. So, so for those type of projects, I will do that.
What about strings?
I use SID strings, the Rock Brights. I absolutely love them because I love that presence of the high mids and the little bit of that brightness of the string noise. I really like to take advantage of that because I like the brightness so much. So I will change strings like every 2 gigs, I would say. And I will never change strings before a recording session because sometimes directors don't like that string noise, and it's very hard to get rid of that, especially if you're playing a jazz song. If you're playing a funk song, it's cool, you can control that. But if there's a lot of openness in the song, then it's hard. But I see a lot of bass players using compression, which is great, which helps in those situations. If you want to change if you want to change your strings and put a new set of strings, then compressor pedal. But I'm not a big fan of compression. I do not like compression.
I don't use it either. I
hate it. Oh my God.
What about amplification?
My EQ is pretty straightforward. Nothing exciting. Just everything is flat. Everything is 50%, except the high mids knob is all the way to 100%.
Really?
Yes.
On your amp?
That's all the way up. Yes, on my amp and on my bass.
So you're using really bright strings with the high mids to 11.
Yes.
And you are obviously getting string noise, but how are you controlling it with your? Are you using the fret wraps, or are you just using your finger?
No fret wraps, although I do endorse them, and Groove Gear gets really mad at me because I don't use it as much as I should.
I've never used one. I've always just had to use my hands to try to mute. But
no, they're great. They're very impressive. It's great. It's just that I never reach out for them because I don't need it.
Gotcha.
I've just, like I said, I've never needed like equipments as a kid growing up, and I was not financially very strong, nor did my family have that much money to buy anything. So I was just playing bass. I was just playing my dad's handmade bass at first, and then making money and, doing my work. And then finally, when companies started sending me a lot of products, then I started making more money because then I became more successful and stuff. Then I bought my own place and never needed to buy anything because then companies would just send you stuff, know?
Right.
And
it's funny how that works, huh? When you absolutely have no money, you have to go buy it. And then when you don't really need it as much, sometimes you're fortunate enough that they'll send it to you. But oh my gosh. Yeah.
But it's very simple. Like my EQ is super, super simple. Just everything 50%. Gain, I would keep it at like 10 o'clock. And master knob, I would keep it at like 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock also. My bass has low mids. I would keep that 50% as well as on the head amp. And then lows all the way up. Pretty simple, actually. I like the attack and I like the definition of my playing. over sloppiness. I do not like sloppiness. So a lot of bass players, when they play fast stuff, especially when soloing, and they have this weird like EQ, it kind of restricts the listeners from hearing all the interesting stuff that they're doing. I don't think a lot of people realize that it's hardly heard. We as bass players, yes, we can hear it, but the local crowd, they don't understand bass that much yet.
True.
Still.
Yet.
Yeah.
That's why we're here to spread the word.
Yeah. The other day I was guesting at one of my husband's performances, and there are so many people that they came up to me and they were like, "What bass you playing? And what gear are you using? What pedal are you using?" I'm like, "I use no pedals. That's just my sound." And they were like, "Oh my God, everything sounds so balanced." I'm like, that's probably because I never used pedals as a kid growing up.
Right.
And now I do. And I only use them if there is a specific requirement of like, let's say a synth sound or like octave or a little bit of chorus or distortion sometimes.
So if you can get it to sound great just with your natural bass sound, it's going to sound even cooler with an effect.
Absolutely. More cleaner and balanced. Yeah.
100%. Awesome. How did the Steve Vai thing come about?
It's a funny story, actually. My sister plays guitar, and she loves Steve Vai. Steve and I think like 3 years ago, I don't know if I'm saying that right, but I think 3 or 4 years ago, I was just, at home chilling with my sister, and she was talking about Steve Vai, and I didn't know how big Steve Vai was because I was not listening to rock music, right? She, on the other hand, is a big rock head and EDM, and she's into that whole like heavy music stuff. I'm more like George Benson, El Jarreau, So she was talking to me about Steve Vai, and then she goes, "Yeah, you should see this performance." So I saw that YouTube video where Anne Marie's playing violin, and other violinist, electric violinist is playing violin. I can't remember his name, but Steve is playing guitar with his like green and his shades and the black, like that whole coat thing with the cape, on stage. And Brian is playing bass, and I'm like, wow, this is so cool. What a great, band. And the sound, the mix is so good. The drummer is kick-ass. And I was like, wow, this is really good. Guess what? After 1 week, I get an email from Steve Vai.
Out of the blue?
Out of the blue.
Wow. You were asking the universe and it just came to be. That's awesome.
It was funny. It was so funny. Like just 1 week later, I get an email from Steve Vai. And I didn't think it was the same Steve Vai. So I'm thinking maybe it's just one of my clients for recording sessions. So I actually didn't reply at first. And I was like, okay, I'll reply maybe tomorrow or day after tomorrow after I finish these pending things that I have. And then I speak to my sister and I'm like, hey, I'm just like talking about work. And I told her that, hey, there's this guy, Steve Vai, and she's like, what? Steve Vai? What are you saying? And I'm like, yeah, why? What? And then she's like, this is the same guitar player that I was talking to you about. And I was like, oh, really? And then I go back immediately and I see, and he says, hi, this is Steve Vai, guitar player, and from, so and so. And then he writes this very nice, huge email. And then he says, have a listen to this song and let me know if you like it or not. And I think you're amazing and I would love to have you on this song. Let me know if this is something that interests you. Okay. And so humble. And I'm like, wow, this is really nice. And I heard the song and I was like, wow, this is really Zappa-like. And I recorded the same night, I think, after my show. Yeah, I was gigging that night and I recorded right after the show. And I sent it the next day with one file with just finger style and one file with just slap style. So he can choose from different takes.
Right.
And he heard it and he was just mind blown. And he was like, oh my God, where have you been? And where did you come from? You're not from the earth. And he said some beautiful things. And he was just in awe of me and so respectful. And he was, going to pay me, and I did not take the money because I just felt like it was my first work with him, and he's such a big musician. I said, how about you play on one of my songs in the future?
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so that's how he played on my song.
That's amazing. Congratulations on that. Good job.
Yeah. And from then we have had a beautiful relationship. And, when he came to India, I guested on one of their songs with Philip Bino on bass. And that was incredible for one of the music festivals that I actually closely work with, called the NH7 Weekender. I was one of the judges for all the bands that were competing against each other. I have worked with Bacardi company for a long time, and they wanted to make this happen. But before they could make it happen, Steve made it happen. Because he knew I was playing with my band there, so
right.
It just happened. Yeah,
it's Steve Vai, it's like Chuck Norris of the guitar.
Yeah, but again, no rehearsal, so it was just like, oh my God, this band is big, and they have done probably a lot of rehearsals for this performance, and Steve told me what song he wants me on, but that's it. So I learned the song, and then I didn't know what was going to happen because no rehearsal. So no sound check, nothing. I just came on stage when he announced my name, and the whole crowd was going crazy because I am like the baby of India. Like they consider me, Indian people, they consider me as the baby bass of India. So I'm always going to be like the baby of the band, no matter what age I am. I'm married now, but nobody. I'm still the baby of the band.
That's
I'm always going to be 16. Yeah.
Awesome. I wish I could be 16 forever too.
Yeah, it's really.
I'm
cute,
only 17 now, so it's cool.
Yeah. It's all about, it's not about the number. It's about how you feel.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree. What advice would you give young bassists out there?
That don't follow anybody's footsteps. I feel like everybody's journey is very different. And I tell my students, they always say that, can you tell me what are the learning experiences you've had? I said, yeah, I will tell you, but I cannot guarantee that you will have the same experiences, because your background is different, mine was different, and every day it just keeps changing because the world is changing really fast,
Yes.
And I say, keep yourself updated with time, because there are so many great musicians out there that everybody's striving to gain the same thing, So you learn from your own intuition and listen to your heart, listen to your gut, and do the right thing according to what's right to you at that point of time, And yeah, of course, keep working hard. That goes without saying. Keep practicing, and not just like, when I say practice, doesn't mean locking yourself up for 8-9 hours. Do good content practicing. Just playing your bass and in an instrument for 8 hours is not going to do anything. You practice 2 hours, but organize your routine in such a way that, okay, I'm going to cover this subject today. I'm going to solo over these changes for these many hours today. And then I'm going to put a metronome. I'm going to put like a different time signature with the same changes on. Now I'm going to try to solo on 5/8 or 11/8 this time. Just challenge yourself, like put challenges in front of you, and make exercises for yourself, getting inspired by all the things that you see around you. That's why I say keep your head and ears open, so that you can be listening to what others are doing, because you can learn a lot.
Awesome advice. You're a wealth of great information. I really thank you for coming on here today. And
thank you for having me. I had a great time talking to you.
I had a great time as well. That's our show for today. Thank you for joining us. Stay healthy and kind. Spread love, good vibes, and inspiration. And remember, you got this. Follow your path and just play. I'm Josh Paul. I hope to see you out there sometime soon. And thank you to Dunlop for making this show possible. And be sure to check out Bass Freaks wherever you get your podcasts. Cheers.